Comment, like, subscribe. The bell keeps you notified. It helps the show thrive. The use of precious stones to symbolize the month in which someone was born is no new phenomenon. In fact, this tradition dates all the way back to the time of the Book of Exodus in the 13th century BC. During this time, a breastplate adorned with 12 gemstones was worn by one Aaron, the brother of Moses and the first high priest of the Israelites. Though these 12 gemstones did not at first represent months of the year, but instead represented the 12 tribes of Israel, with these gemstones believed to have special powers that could even tell people their fate. It wouldn't be around until the 5th century AD, however, that these 12 gemstones would start to get linked with the 12 zodiac signs and the 12 months of the year. Things work in 12s an awful lot of the time if you hadn't guessed. This video of mine goes into detail all about that, go check it out. It was also during the 5th century AD that we have records of Hindu traditions starting to link various gemstones with months of the year too. Whether this happened independently or if there was some crossover between these two cultures, we don't know. However, what gemstones represented which month would fluctuate over the centuries. In the 18th century, the list of what gemstone represented what month started to get solidified in countries like Poland, Germany, and the USA. And then in 1912, the National Association of Jewelers released their list of modern birthstones, which has pretty much been the standard since. It seems the main reason that this modern list was created was to remove any non-transparent gems from the list, as these are supposedly harder to make mother's rings out of, with mother's rings being rings with multiple gemstones in them, reflecting the birth months of the mother's children. Anyway, this means that you will find different lists with different gemstones for different months of the year. These lists have names like traditional gemstones, or modern gemstones, or ancient gemstones. Wikipedia even touts that there are different gemstones for different nations, like the US or UK. So to make matters easier, for this video, we'll be focusing on the modern and traditional lists given to us by the International Gem Society. They sound like the authority on the matter, and who are we to judge them? Their modern list consists of the gemstones laid out in the aforementioned 1912 list, and their traditional list is an amalgamation of various gemstones of the past. What you will most likely notice is that there isn't actually too much difference between these two lists. Some months' birthstones are the same on both lists, while some differ. Some months even have multiple gemstones on the modern and traditional lists. So despite there being just 12 months of the year, there are way more than just 12 birthstones. So while we may know about gemstones and care for them to varying degrees, why don't we find out where their names actually came from? It makes all the sense in the world to start the first month of January, and on the modern and traditional list of birthstones, January is garnet. Garnet is commonly seen as a deep red gemstone and has meanings ranging from wealth to love to protecting you from nightmares. The word garnet actually comes from the Latin word of granatus, which means seed / grain. This sounds a little bit confusing at first, simply because this gem doesn't look much like a seed or a piece of grain. But there's actually one specific seed that this gem does look an awful lot like, that being the small, spherical, deep red seeds of the pomegranate fruit. This also explains to us why the latter part of the name pomegranate sounds similar to the garnet gemstone's name, as pomegranate simply means apple with many seeds. In the past, many fruits were referred to as some sort of apple. This lives on best with the pineapple being nothing like an actual apple. Amethyst is the modern and traditional gemstone of February and is seen most commonly as being a very deep shade of purple. It is seen as symbolizing courage and protection, though the ancient Greeks believed that this gemstone had one particular unique power. They thought that the deep purple of this gemstone was a similar color to wine, and in turn believed that by wearing this gem while drinking alcohol, it would stop you from getting drunk. There's even a story of Dionysus, who was basically the Greek god of partying hard, turning a woman into white stone and feeling so bad about it that he cried tears of wine all over her, turning the statue into amethyst. Though regardless, as the Greeks believed that this gem would stop you from getting drunk, they named it Amaphestos, which means not drunk / not intoxicated. This name would eventually transform into amethyst as we know it today. March is the first month in which there is a difference between the modern and traditional birthstones. The modern birthstone of March is AQUAMARINE, which symbolizes calm and tranquility. If you couldn't guess by the name, this gem is a sea blue color, and its name comes from two watery Latin words, aqua meaning water and marina meaning sea. March's traditional gemstone, however, is the more odiously named Bloodstone. This name has deep links with Christ and his blood and the sacrifice he made. The name derives from the specks of red that adorn these stones that look like splatters of blood. April has perhaps the most well-known kind of gemstone as its modern and traditional birthstone, that being diamond. Diamond is so well known of that it basically has become a word for gemstones as a whole too. Diamonds are traditionally clear in colour and are seen as having a ton of different meanings, from wealth to happiness to power. Diamonds, however, are also incredibly hard stones. To this day, they are some of the toughest materials on our earth and are known for their strength and durability. It's this durability that gave diamonds their name, as diamond comes from the Greek word of adamas, meaning invincible. While diamonds aren't invincible by any means, they're pretty darn tough. And in Greek mythology, it was believed that they gave their wearer magical invincibility from attacks or from being poisoned. Slight tangent, but something really interesting about the world of gemstones is the terms it has created that we've used even outside that world of gemstones. For example, the way in which light reflects off of and through a polished gemstone is called its luster. You want a gem to have a really good luster. If it were to lack luster, however, that would be a really bad thing, and a disappointing gem is lackluster. And that is exactly where the term of lackluster comes from, and we use it to describe way more than just gems these days. We use it to describe food and movies and even books. Though, as we continue into May, we have the birthstone of Emerald, which is both the modern and traditional gem of this month. Emerald is of course a dazzling bright green colour, and it symbolises wealth and health among other things. Emeralds don't have the most interesting story behind their name, it would seem though. As I said, they are distinctly green, and it's from this colour where their name derives from. It derives from the Greek smaragdos, which simply means green gem. It would take a while for this to become emerald in English, however. That Greek name became the Latin smaragdus, which became the medieval Latin esmeraldus, which became the Old French esmeraude, which became the Old English emerald, which became emerald as we know it today. So it just means green gem, but we got there by going the long way round. June's modern birthstone is one of the most unique and rare gemstones there are, Alexandrite. This gem actually changes colour depending on the light in which it is under, becoming a shade of green in the sunlight and red under incandescent lights. This gem, unsurprisingly, is seen as symbolising change, but also relates to luck or fortune too. This gem was first discovered in the mines of Russia, where it was first mistaken as being emerald. The story goes is that it was discovered on the 29th of April 1834. The 29th of April also happens to be the birthday of one Alexander II of Russia, though he was not king yet at the time of its discovery. Though in honour of the stone being discovered on the soon-to-be king's birthday, it was named after him, becoming Alexandrite. The traditional gemstone of June, however, is pearl, which isn't actually a gemstone as it's not found underground with rocks, but is instead formed inside of animals like clams or oysters. Pearl's etymology, however, is unknown to us, it seems. We know it comes from the Latin perla, but beyond that, we're not too sure. One idea is that it comes from the Latin perna, which was the name of a sea mussel and meant something like ham or leg of lamb, as this mussel was a similar shape to these things. July's modern and traditional gemstone is one of the most popular, the ruby. Rubies are bright, shiny red stones that symbolize love and passion. Rubies, like emeralds, however, are simply named after their colour. In medieval Latin, they were called rubens lapis, which meant red stone. This became ruby in Old French and then ruby in English. August, however, has two modern gemstones and one traditional gemstone. Its two modern gemstones are peridot and spinel. Peridot is traditionally a shade of olive green, and its name actually comes from Arabic roots and their word of falidat, PERIDOT, which simply means gem. Over time, this word was shifted into PERIDOT as we know it today. While these two words might look pretty different at first glance, they do actually sound somewhat similar, and Fs have had a habit of turning into Ps over time across languages for a while now. SPINEL, however, doesn't seem to link with one colour in particular, ranging in colours from red to orange to blues to purples to pinks. What seems to be unique about SPINEL is the fact that even in its natural state, it is a rather pointed gem with sharp edges. This relates to its name, as SPINEL comes from the Latin spina, meaning a thorn/prick, relating to the pointedness of this gem. Finally, for August, however, we have the traditional gemstone of SARDONYX. This is a deep brown and red gem, almost looking like the surface of Jupiter to myself. This stone's name contains another stone name in it, onyx. Normal onyx isn't a gemstone unto itself, however. Its name comes from the Greek onyx, meaning claw/fingernail, as the streaks in this mineral can look like a fingernail at times. Sardonyx is a reddish form of onyx, which was first found around the city of Sardis, the ancient capital of the kingdom of Lydia. Thankfully, unlike August, September has just one gemstone, both modern and traditional, that being SAPPHIRE, which I'm only just discovering has 2 P's in it. Man, I played Pokemon Sapphire so much as a kid and never noticed that. That's really bad for me. Sapphires are traditionally a deep blue colour and are linked with romance and royalty. Sapphire is believed to come from the Greek and Latin words of Sapphirlos and Sapphires, respectively, and both simply mean blue. As I said, this gem is deeply linked with the colour blue. There is also a theory, however, that the name means sacred to Saturn, as these gems in particular were used to worship the god. October's modern gemstone of tourmaline is very unique in its coloration, as it seems to come in a multitude of colours, most noticeably in a mixture of pink and green. The stone has been linked with reconciliation, and its name comes from Sinhalese, a Sri Lankan language, and their word of TOURMALINE, meaning mixed gems. This relates to the mixture of colours this gem is. Traditionally, however, the birthstone of October was the OPAL. These are incredibly shiny rocks, and their name is believed to come ultimately from the Sanskrit opalas, meaning precious stones. November once again has 2 modern birthstones and a single traditional, though there is a crossover between these stones. The first of its modern birthstones is golden topaz. Topaz is a gemstone that comes in a variety of colours, and its golden kind has come to represent November. Topaz is believed to be named after the island of Topazes, which is now called Zambagad. This island never actually produced topaz, but it did produce the aforementioned peridot, which was mistaken for topaz at the time. Another idea is that topaz comes from the Sanskrit tapaz, meaning fire, due to the fire-like colour of many different kinds of topaz. November's other modern gemstone is citrine. This is a deep yellow gemstone, seen to mean prosperity and joy. The gem's name relates directly to its colour, as citrine was initially an adjective meaning citrus in colour. The gem definitely has a similar hue to lemons, that's for certain. The traditional birthstone for November, however, is simply topaz, of all shades and colours, and we just covered that name, so that makes things a tad easier too. Finally, we have December, which between modern and traditional has 5 different birthstones, all of which are various shades of blue. Its 3 modern gemstones are blue topaz, blue zircon, and tanzanite. Blue topaz is simply topaz that is blue, and blue zircon is zircon that is blue. Zircon, however, we haven't covered yet, and it means golden hued in Persian. Zircon can come in a variety of colours, and many of those have a golden hue evidently. The name of tanzanite should be pretty self-explanatory, however. It comes from the fact that this gemstone is only found naturally in one place on the planet, that being Tanzania. December's traditional birthstones are turquoise and lapis lazuli, or lapis lazuli, I can never remember. Turquoise was actually the name of the stone before becoming the name of the colour, and it means Turkish stone, as initially this stone was found in Turkey. And finally, we have lapis lazuli, which simply means the stone of azure, with azure being the name of a specific shade of blue. If you hadn't guessed, December is a very blue month. But that is how the Birthstones got their names. And what's perhaps most interesting for name nerds like ourselves is that many Birthstone names have gone on to become actual given names we humans have used for fellow humans. We like naming people after pretty precious things, and is there anything more pretty and precious than these valuable stones? Now, does anyone else have a huge urge to go play some Minecraft, or watch some Steven Universe, or erase half the universe from existence? Or is that just me? This video topic was suggested by Prometheus Castle Rock over on my Patreon. Every Wednesday, I put up a video request post over on my Patreon for my awesome patrons to leave video ideas on. I then pick one of those ideas to be turned into a video the following Wednesday. So if you have a great idea for a Name Explain video and wish to enjoy Name Explain videos ad-free as well as get exclusive content, then why not support the channel on Patreon? It takes just $1 a month to help the channel in a huge way and gets you all of these amazing benefits. Visit patreon.com/nameexplain or click the link down below. Name Explain depends on viewers like yourself supporting the channel financially on Patreon, so a huge thank you to everyone who does. Donating just $1 a month helps the channel amazingly and gets you bonuses including ad-free videos, exclusive content, and the power to request ideas to be made into actual Name Explain videos. $2 a month gets you all that, plus your name here with all these awesome people. Visit patreon.com/nameexplain or click the link down below to find out how you too can support the channel. Thank you. Thanks for reaching the end of the video. Why not watch another and subscribe to keep up to date on all things Name Explain. You can find myself on Instagram where I'm NameExplainYT and join the Facebook group Friends of Name Explain to talk with myself and other name nerds. All that will be linked down below. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video and once again, thank you all so much.